Hello, we will be doing some chicken bacon ranch wraps today. You will need some boneless, skinless chicken breast, and then some Italian seasoning, garlic powder, salt, and black pepper. For the dry ingredients, you'll need some panko crumbs, and for the wet, you'll need some mayonnaise and ranch. You want to put some aluminum foil down, and then you're going to preheat the oven to 350. For the wet ingredients, you're going to want to put in a little bit of ranch into a bowl. Then you're going to want to put about equal or maybe a little bit more of mayonnaise. This is the binder for the wet and dry ingredients together. This is what keeps the chicken nice and moist. And then we are going to season. You're going to want to start with your Italian seasoning, a decent amount of garlic powder, a little bit of salt, and a decent amount of black pepper. You're then going to mix everything together until it is nice and combined. Now for our dry ingredients, we're going to put some panko into a bowl and we're going to season it the same way we did the wet ingredients. We'll be starting with a decent amount of black pepper, a little bit of Italian seasoning, a little bit of salt, and a decent amount of garlic powder. You can then mix this with your hand until it's nice and combined. We're then going to start prepping the chicken. We're going to lay it all out nice and even so you can see the surface of the chicken. And we are going to season it with the same seasonings as the wet and dry ingredients. First, we're going to start with a little bit of Italian seasoning. Then we're going to do a decent amount of garlic powder. And then we're going to do a decent amount of black pepper. And just a little bit of salt. Next, we're going to start prepping the chicken. You are going to want to put it into the ranch and mayonnaise mixture. You're going to want to make sure that everything is nice and coated and that you can't see the chicken barely at all anymore. Then you're going to dip it into the panko crumb mixture. You're going to want to make sure that you get everything nice and coated and to pat it down into the chicken itself so it actually sticks. After you're done and the chicken is in the oven, make sure that you sanitize absolutely everything in your kitchen that the chicken may have touched. And then when you feel like it's nice and coated, you are then going to move it to the pan with the aluminum foil on it. Whatever you don't use of your panko crumb mixture, you're going to sprinkle it on each individual chicken nice and evenly, and you're going to get a nice thick crust because of that. It's very important to try to use up all your ingredients so nothing goes to waste. Then we are going to put that in the oven for about 35 minutes or until the chicken reaches an internal temperature of 165 degrees. We're then going to start our bacon. We are going to chop this up with some scissors and we're going to get them into nice small pieces. We'll put that on about medium to high heat. Next, we're going to start on the rice. We are going to do 4 cups of water to 2 cups of rice. It's always a 2 to 1 of the wet to dry. You're then going to pour this into a decent sized pot. You're going to want to have enough for 6 cups total. I am personally using jasmine rice. It's my favorite type of rice, but you can use whatever kind you have. We are then going to wash it. This is what it looks like when it's all starchy, and this is what it looks like with all the starch rinsed off. I threw a little slab of butter into mine, and then once the water has reached a boiling point, you are going to pour your rice in and then stir it once and then turn it down to a low heat and cover it. Make sure that you let it be. And then we are going to give our bacon a nice stir. Next, we are going to start on our wraps. We're going to do 2 cups of all-purpose flour into the sifter. This makes about 4 medium-sized wraps. Then we're going to do a tablespoon of salt. And then we're going to sift everything together until it's nice and smooth in the bowl. We're then going to add in 3/4 cup of water. And 3 tablespoons of oil. I'm using vegetable oil. We're then going to mix everything up until it gets to a nice sticky dough ball. This is what it'll look like when everything's combined, and you're going to let it sit on the side for about 10 minutes. This is what the chicken looks like when it's all nice and cooked. You're then going to give your bacon another stir. I set my rice off to the side and I'm letting it sit. This is the bacon about 90% done. Then get your dough balls into 4 equal-sized pieces, and you're going to roll that out as flat as possible. When your pan reaches medium heat, you're going to spray it with some Pam, and then you're going to put your dough slice into that and wait until it's nice and fluffy and brown. Then drain your bacon with paper towels into a bowl. Set the rice off to the side. You're going to want this brown color before flipping. Then cut your chicken up when it's nice and cool to bite-sized pieces. And then we're going to layer. You're going to put some mayonnaise on the bottom, rice, your chicken, bacon, and then ranch on top.